Hi, I'm Kira from Create Along, and today we're talking about stud earrings with the stud puck. So let's get started. Let's make stud earrings with embedded post backs. And it's a tool designed to help you with this whole process so that you can make very nice embedded backs on your studs. So I've got these earrings are already baked. I baked them right on the puck. So that's the answer to that question. And this has 5 holes around the outside edge in the pattern of a star. One here, there, 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 and there. And one directly in the middle, right here. So if in doubt, use the one in the middle. Although the ones around the edges are there in case you want to work on 3 pairs of earrings at the same time. So what I have on my desk here is some cutters for making the backs of studs. And you can use any mini cutter that you have. I'm going to do this star first. So I have this star and this is already baked. It's going to be easiest to do if your pieces of clay are baked and ready to be turned into stud earrings. So I have a pair of stars. And this process is really designed to use with these. These are stud post backs, and you can find them on Amazon, Etsy, and other places that sell earring findings, and they're called earring post blanks. So they generally come in multiple sizes. It's kind of hard to find a set that's all one size, and that's okay. The size of the pad on the back is going to relate to the size of the earring that you're making. So if you have a tiny stud earring, you can use this very small size, and then it's medium and large. So you have a big earring that's heavy, you can use the bigger size to give yourself more grip. So what we're going to do is cut a shape to go on the back of this earring. And since I don't want my cutter to stick, I'm going to give it a little spritz of cutter sauce. That looks like this. And cut out a piece of clay to make the earring back with. And let me just find something to poke this out. All right, so we have the back of the earring, and we have the front of the earring here, and we need to get a post. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this post. Now I will show you 2 ways of doing this. So one way is to simply poke your earring post through this piece and stick it in the middle hole, like that. You don't need glue or anything, because clay to clay contact is going to be the best way to do this. And then you would just stick your earring on there and give it a few presses. And then we're going to just gently pull and twist the post right out of that hole. And that's what you end up with, is your embedded post. Okay, so I'll set this aside and show you a second way of doing this. If you are a person who likes to be more precise than that and you want to put this post exactly where you want it, or let's say your earring is a little bigger, it's not a little star like this, it's got more surface area, which I have one that's like that, I'll show you in a minute. This is Sculpey Bacon Bond bakeable adhesive, and I'm just going to scoop some up onto this earring piece, stick it on the back of my earring where I want it, give it a good press so it oozes up a little bit, and then we will cut the same earring shape out for the back. And now we can just take this whole thing, poke this stud through the piece of clay, locate the center hole of the stud puck, and attach them together. And then press a couple of times. I'm going to say maybe 6 or 7 times. It depends on how hard you press, right? And gently twist this out. And now we have this that has the Bacon Bond on it, right? And the Bacon Bond is fine. I also have some Loctite here to show you. If you wanted to use a drop of super glue, you could. You would need to let that totally and completely dry before adding the clay on it. Otherwise, the clay is locking the wet glue inside of there, and I get nervous about that. I don't want my glue to react with the clay and ruin the connection. So if you're using a super glue instead of a Sculpey Bacon Bond or a liquid clay product, you've got to let it dry 100% before you cover it with that next layer of clay. So now I have 2 of these. These are ready to bake. And I'm convinced that they're both going to be just as strong. All of these have been baked with 0 glue or anything in them, and they're fabulous. They're not going anywhere because you've got a nice strong piece of clay there. And I will say my clay was a number 3 on my Atlas Marcato 180 pasta machine. So it's relatively, like a medium thickness, not too thick. Okay. So let's say you wanted to turn something like this into a stud. You can. It's the same idea. You just locate the area on the earring where you would like the stud to go. So I'll set these down here. And since this one's big and there's a lot of space, I could potentially use this. I feel like this would be overkill, but if this is the only size you had, you could use it, right? Because these are super light. When you make your earrings from polymer clay, usually you're going to have really lightweight stuff, and you don't need that big giant post, right? But for this one, I think I would use this technique of using some bakeable glue, because then I really can locate this on the earring back where I want it. And I can pick something like maybe this teardrop shape, which will fit over that to create my piece of clay to make the stud with. So here I have my piece of glittery clay. My stud's been attached, and I've got this little teardrop. I can eyeball the center and push this on here and then attach it using my stud puck. So you can place it where you want it and then use the tool. And this is going to secure it all the way around. One thing that I do like to do is move my finger like this so that I know it's being pressed in there in all directions, all the way around. Right, so that's perfect to make a stud out of a larger shape. What if you have some molded pieces? These are little seashells that I molded, and I thought, those would make a cute stud. But this one has a large surface area back here, and it's a heavier, thicker piece of clay. So I am going to do this large pad, and I'll get some of this clay, and rather than cut it out, I might just make it into a ball. Remove the cat hair, because this is actually, it has a molded back, right? So it's not flat. It's got a dip in it from where I pushed on it with my finger. And I feel like a little ball of clay is going to do a better job for me on this one. So I'm going to go ahead and make that ball, get this pressed up into it, put this in the middle, and get this on here by pressing. For me, this tool eliminates things like fingerprints and unevenness on the back. If you had a tiny logo stamp, you could stamp that in there, but this is going to be very secure. If you don't like that it's showing a circle, you can then just take your thumb and spread out the clay. But at least you know that in the middle there, that stud is embedded clay to clay with a nice amount of clay around it, and it's not going to go anywhere. Okay. Some other things you can do with this tool is you can bake on it. You can also, let's say I wanted to do some decorating. So I recently got this really fun paint. It's called Love Color. I am considering carrying it at Create Along because it's not that easy to find right now. And it works really well on polymer clay. So here I have a finished piece that has it on there. It's kind of like a raised, translucent, colorful, almost looks like resin. It's very hard like resin. Unfortunately, they don't have a clear one, and I told DecoArt they really should. Because then it would be like a resin dupe, but they don't have it in clear. They just have it in colors, and it comes out really nice. I like how it looks. I've tested it. I have let it sit on my clay for almost a year because I did find this last year while I was in New Orleans at the NAMTA show, and I wanted to make sure that it was going to stay compatible with my clay, and it has. It's a nice, fun paint. So let's say I wanted to put some of this on my little pink moons here instead of resin to give them a little shiny effect. These are already baked, okay? So I can use this as a stand for doing things like adding a coat of paint or some resin to a project. I kind of like making this into little dots because it holds its shape pretty well. You could also use a paint like this for holding on glitter or rhinestones or something if you like to use stuff like that. But now I can leave this here and just let it hang out until it's dry, and it's not going to go anywhere. Right? And if I wanted to do some resin, because these I think would benefit from a pop of resin. So let's do some resin. We'll put this here. I like my J Diction resin for this process, so we'll put a drop of resin right in the middle of that earring and use a tool to spread it around. Resin always makes glitter look really cool. Just use a little tool here, give it a little blow some air on it to pop any bubbles, and then I've got a little resin curing light here, so I'll use that on it. Right, so it's a perfect little portable stand for doing stuff like this. And if you wanted to, this whole thing could go under your resin light. But at the moment, oh, look at how pretty that comes out, okay? So these are just some ways to finish your stud earrings, make your stud earrings, bake your studs. Always, always bake for the same amount of time every time. So this is all primo. It needs 30 minutes for this thickness in the oven. So when I do the fronts, I do them for 30 minutes. When I put on the backs, I do them for 30 minutes again, right? I don't do any half baking or partial baking. Everything goes in for the amount of time that it needs, and that will keep your earrings sturdy and strong, prevent them from popping apart later, and give you nice backs on these stud types that you want to make. Any questions, drop a comment, and keep the content coming your way. Subscribe and like my channel, and I'll see you next time on Polymer Clay TV.